guys, my name's Luke and this is Carla. Today we're going to go through the bench hip thrust. The bench hip thrust is a fantastic exercise. It's a great way to strengthen but also grow your glutes. But I find when a lot of people do this, they start to get a few other muscles that take more of the load. So we'll often get like the hamstring involved, or we'll get the quads, or even the lower back at times. Today we're going to go through why this might be and how we can actually start to feel the glutes a little bit more and from there grow and strengthen them. Okay, so to start with, we need to make sure that we're setting up properly. So we've got the bench or the box here. I like the boxes just because we can adjust the heights a little bit easier. A bench will be just fine, but we've got to make sure that the bench is the right height. So how we do that is we slide the butt close to the bench or the box, okay? And then the box height should line up just under the shoulder blades, okay? That way when she pushes her hips up, she's nice and even. Okay, second, we're going to make sure that we've got the right equipment. So we've got the barbell. This is a 20 kilo bar. You can use a 15 or even an 8 if you need to go a little bit lighter. But the main thing is that we have the right weight plates. So we have the Olympic size weight plates just because they're a little bit bigger. If you do get the smaller ones, you won't be able to roll the bar onto the hips. Okay, it'll be a lot more challenging. Okay, and lastly, we make sure we have a pad because we want to make sure that that protects our hips. If you don't use it, it may hurt, so I advise use the pad. Okay, so once we're set up, we've got to make sure that we're getting into the exercise properly. Okay, so we're going to take a nice wide grip. Okay, the reason why is as we push our hips up, we want to straighten those arms because if we have our hands too close, okay, the arms are going to be bent. And we want to straighten those arms because it's going to help with contracting the glutes at the top and finishing that hip extension. Okay, so once we've got the arms sorted, we've got to make sure that when we start the exercise, we bring the knees in. Okay, so we bring the feet in to bend the knees. That's it. And I find the best way to get into this is just to push your hips up and then we can adjust from there. Okay, so from this top position, we want to make sure that we have a nice right angle between the knee and the shin there. Okay, we find as you come up, Carla, so come up to the top, I find if you have your feet too far in, too far in, okay, we're going to get more of the quad, okay? If we have our feet too far out, we're going to get more of the hamstring as opposed to the glute. Now that may not be too bad if you do want to develop the hamstrings, but for the purpose of today, we want to work the glutes, so we want to have a nice right angle, okay? Cool. The next one is as we press up, so press up again for me, Carla. Okay, we want to make sure that our spine is neutral or the hip is slightly into a posterior pelvic tilt. Okay, that way we're completely finishing that hip extension, which is what the glute is supposed to do. The glute is a hip extensor, so at the top of the position, we want to finish in hip extension. Okay, so coming back down. So a typical example of that not happening is as Carla presses up, okay, her butt finishes here. If we want to get the glutes working, we've got to get into hip extension. So we've got to finish off that by squeezing the butt. Okay, come back down. The last one we want to go through is simply just as Carla comes up, is just trying to squeeze your butt as hard as you possibly can. Okay, and come back down. Okay, so when we're programming for the bench hip thrust, I find that it's not one of those exercises that we really want to load up on. Okay, so I typically find that at about body weight or even just over body weight in terms of weight on the bar is probably enough. Okay, if you can do that more than that, then we probably need to look at other variations to the exercise. Okay, so a few things we can do is add things like isometrics in. So an example would be as Carla comes up to the hip thrust. Okay, she could hold that position for 5 seconds. So 3, 2, 1, and back down, and up again, and hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The purpose of that is that she has more time under tension. She actually builds more tension in the glutes. And if we're talking about hypertrophy, that's the key goal. Okay, the more tension we can create, the more chance we can actually grow the glutes. Okay, another one would be adding tempos in. So adding a tempo of just like 3, 0, 3, 0. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Again, it's just another way of creating more tension, okay? Lastly, okay, we can change the way we do the exercise. So instead of playing around with tempo, we can do like a 1 1/4 rep. So that would be coming all the way up, okay? dropping down, and then up again, and then all the way back down. So it's 1 full rep, down a quarter, then up, and all the way back down. That way we're really drilling in the last part. So where the hips are dropping down, good, so they drop all the way down, back down a little bit, and then push all the way up. So we're really working that last range of the hip extension. So it's really starting to fire up those glutes. So that's the bench hip thrust. Now when you're performing this exercise, try to keep your reps around 6 to up to 20, okay? It's not one of those exercises that you really want to lift too heavy with. Leave that stuff for your squats and your deadlifts, okay? I find if you go too heavy, it can start to compromise the low back too much and you don't really get as much glute activity as what you like. So use it as a tool to develop the glutes as an accessory exercise, okay? If you do get to about body weight on the bar, okay, in terms of your loading, then look to one of those variations that we went through just before. Now, again, if you can't feel this in your glutes, make sure that you're set up correctly and you're going through the tips that we went through for your glutes. So making sure the arms are extended, the knee and the thigh are in the right position, and that we're completely locking out the hips. Okay, that's it for today. If you like the video, let us know, and we'll see you later.